Yo, what's up you guys? This is King Froggy and welcome back once again. Let me go ahead and do this, that way I don't do it later. Welcome back to Everlasting Summer. I'm jumping back into this in the same night because I'm actually really enjoying this because it's two of my favorite things. It's like a novel. Oh, hello. I woke up to I wake up with a hellish ringing inside my head. The ringing seemed to be coming from the depths of my consciousness. But after I came to my senses, I realized that the cause of this ringing is my alarm clock. Strange, where did it come from? Why is it standing near my bed? It was 7:30 according to the clock. Olga had already left, and there was nobody to force me to go to the lineup. Thus, I can sleep a little bit more. I closed my eyes, but it seemed like my consciousness had already had its coffee and was ready for a long, productive day. I need to get up. Anyway, as I was saying a while ago, this combines two of my favorite things. I have three favorite things in life, and this combines two of them. One being reading, and two being video games. The third being music, and although that does have a little bit in this, that doesn't really count. But those are my three favorite things out of life, and it is really cool having two things at once, in this place. So it's really cool to be doing this. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as me. Anyway, I should plan my day out. After all, I need to at least find out something today, but still nothing came to my head. Fine. I need to wake up completely and wash myself. On my way to the washstands, I met Xenia. What got you up so early? Anything wrong with being up early? She looked at me as if I insulted her. No, nothing, just curious. None of your business. Wow, Xenia isn't very sympathetic even when she's in a good mood, but today she looks furious. Cold water perked me up, the fog in my head dissipated, and my thoughts started arranging themselves. Curiously, I started to worry about finding a good place in the canteen more than about finding answers. Brushed my teeth and was going to leave when a quiet sound went past my ears. Probably a squirrel or some other... No, it's not. It's probably Ileana. I heard another sound, this time a bit farther. I walked 10 meters along the path, searching for the source. Nobody, just the morning forest. Oh, hello. I returned to the washstands and saw Miku, who was looking for something in the grass. Noticing me, she smiled and jumped up to me. Oh, hello. Good morning. I accidentally scattered my tooth powder, just trying to gather it all back up. The dewy grass didn't seem to be helping matters. Are you sure that's a good idea? Well, why? What else can I do? I don't have any more. It was the last I had. She pouted like a child who had just had her favorite toy taken from her. Here, I'll give you mine. I dug into my bag. No tooth powder there. Strange. Didn't I just put it there? I walked away for a minute and now it's gone. Listen, it looks like I've forgotten it. I didn't want to tell her that it had just gone missing. Knowing the sensitivity of this girl, it was safe to assume that vanishing household goods would impress her so much that her brain would reset itself in order to avoid overheating. Well, I'll be off. Yeah, cheers. Visit me in the music club. I'm still alone there, but I... Miku's voice faded in the freshness of summer morning far behind me. Getting back to the leader's cabin, I took my cell phone and looked at the battery meter. Enough power for a day, maybe even less. Of course, it won't help me much in here, but still. Finding a charger in the 80s would mean inventing it. Still, regardless, the morning was shining and beautiful. The bright sun was shining over the space and time displaced Pioneer Camp, warming its residents and filling them with energy to spend the day productively, or, in my case, to waste it in a futile efforts to find an explanation for everything happening here. There was an unusually large crowd near the canteen. Of course, there was no other place in the camp that pioneers loved as much as the canteen. Why were they all out here? I came closer to find out what was going on. It looked like the camp had gathered at the porch. There were all the familiar girls, Olga and Electronic. They were having a lively discussion. I drew closer. Ah, Simeon. Have you seen Shurik today? No, what's the matter? We haven't been able to find him since early this morning. Disappearing pioneers. Oh, that's something new. But he was with you yesterday. She was talking to Electronic. Yeah, he was. So you woke up this morning and he wasn't anywhere to be found? No. Why didn't you come to me immediately? Well, I thought that he got up earlier and went to wash or something. Did he mention anything yesterday? Interjected Slavia. For example? Oh, for example. That he was going somewhere, for instance. No. What exactly is so horrifying about that? It's only 9 a.m. He might have decided to go for a walk. You don't know Shurik. She looked over at me seriously. Oh, no, I don't. I didn't see anything suspicious in this situation. Okay, let's stop panicking. We'll find him. How could he miss breakfast? Juliana grinned. Exactly. Time to eat anyway. The pioneers proceeded into the canteen. Yet again, I had no choice where to fit in. The only free space at the table with Elisa and Juliana. Oh God, talk about a combination. Take a seat. She pointed at the chair next to her. Sat down. Aren't you going to get your food? Good idea. I hadn't thought about that. His breakfast didn't look much different from yesterday's, but looked more appetizing. Maybe I was just very hungry. Or maybe I was eager to finish it off as soon as possible to avoid yet another Juliana prank. Want to go to the beach with us today? When? Right after breakfast. Generally speaking, relaxation wasn't on my agenda today, but if I was going to spend my time thinking, I should not do it while it's getting a suntan. Sure, why not? Ah, cool. She smiled nicely. I bet you're planning another prank. No, not at all. Juliana waved her hands at me. She sure is. Elisa grinned. She's always like that. I looked at Elisa attentively and suddenly remembered yesterday evening. Strange behavior, our quarrel. But now she looked like usual. Maybe there's no need to say anything to her. Thought I wasn't going to. At the end of the day, everything that happened that night stopped seeming unusual. As if it was all just a dream. No way. I think she's right. Nobody believes me. Juliana took her tray of dirty dishes and stood up. Enjoy your meal, she said in much a way which left no doubt nothing good awaits me today at the beach. Me and Elisa were left alone. You know, I guess I shouldn't go with you after all. Why is that? Well, I got something to do. And what exactly would that be? She looked in my eyes, and I couldn't find any appropriate excuse. I don't even have a swimsuit. Try mine. You think it will fit me? Give it a try. I don't think it's worth the effort. Don't be a wimp. We'll find you some swimming trunks. Those words only added to my fear. Wait for me by the canteen. I'll be back soon. Okay. There's nothing wrong with waiting for her, is there? Finishing my breakfast, I left the building and sat on the stairs. Pioneers, all having their business, hurried past me one by one. No one stopped by me. No one even looked in my direction. Seemed they didn't consider me a stranger, but exactly the opposite. Just another teenager their age, their comrade, you could say. Caught myself thinking that I had started to consider this camp and its inhabitants with not as much caution as I had on the first day. Indeed, Elisa was back in a couple of minutes. Ready? Ready for what? She gave me the trunks. You could hardly call them trunks. They looked more like pink boxers decorated with butterflies and flowers. Actually, they were boxers. I'm almost afraid to ask, but where did you get these? Too scared to put them on? Well, you know, I have not the slightest intention of doing so. I appreciated her joke, but wasn't going to make myself a laughing stock. Put them on, she said roughly. Why don't you try them on instead of me? I think that color of this swimsuit would set off your eyes very nicely. Let's make a bet. I had no desire to accept her bets. No thanks. Alright, you either go to the beach wearing them, or you swim naked. Weighing the pros and cons, even the second option seems better than the first. I'm not planning to go anywhere at all. Now tell everyone that you left these trunks in my cabin.
Why would y'all do that?
How should I know?
She burst into laughter. I didn't want to argue with Elisa, so I decided to go to the beach in the end. But not in those flamboyant trunks. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Don't be late.
She ran off after saying that. I dragged my feet to the leader's cabin to get a towel and hopefully find something like trunks. Olga was waiting for me in the room.
Simeon, did you hear anything about Shurik?
Same as half an hour ago. I walked to my bed and took a towel.
Are you going somewhere?
Yeah, to the beach.
Wait, do you have swimming trunks? You came here without any luggage, as I recall.
Strange, that fact didn't seem to surprise her during our first encounter. No.
So what will you wear?
Good question. What? I don't know.
Wait a minute.
She walked to the wardrobe and unlocked a drawer.
In a moment, she had a pair of normal black trunks.
Where did she get those? More importantly, why? Someone from the previous session might have forgotten them. Considering all the strange things in this camp, it wasn't really surprising to find men's swimming trunks in Olga's room. Thanks. The trunks were just in my size. I got changed behind the cabin and went to the beach. A lot of pioneers had already gathered there, but I recognized Elisa and Juliana.
Come here.
I walked over to them and sat on the sand.
I see you found something to bear.
She stared at my trunks and smirked. As you can see.
Come on, let's swim.
I don't want to. Maybe later. I was not a fan of swimming.
Suit yourself.
The girls ran into the water. Why did I come here? Why am I not out looking for answers? Should I care about it now? It seemed normal. Certainly a lot of strange things have happened to me during these 3.5 days, but not one of them, taken separately, seemed at all supernatural. Especially since I didn't get any closer to fighting so much as a clue. On the contrary, everything that has happened has only confused me more. What alternatives do I have? I won't get any truth from the local residents, though I doubt they even know it. Should I try to leave this place? How far can I walk, considering that I don't even know where I am? Turns out that my only option is to wait. After some time, the girls came back. Juliana held something in her hands.
Look!
I looked up and saw a crayfish. Just a normal crayfish. Juliana lay next to me and started to torment it. Leave the poor animal alone.
Why? It's just a crayfish. So what? It has a right to live too. I'll rip its claws off and ask the cook to boil it for dinner.
As if we have nothing else to eat. I looked at Elisa. I'd be totally uninterested in Juliana's fun with the poor sea creature. Tell her.
What's wrong? It's a crayfish. It deserves it.
It looked like the girls missed their lessons on nature in primary school and lacked empathy for the environment.
Give it.
I snatched the crayfish off Juliana.
Suit yourself.
I was a little surprised she didn't resist. I looked into the eyes of the poor animal. They didn't express anything at all. I thought that if it could speak, it would certainly be outraged. It would even go to the UN Convention on Human Rights. To tell the truth, I wasn't sure that would help. I took the crayfish to the river and set it free.
Never mind, I'll catch more. There are plenty of them here,
said Juliana. No doubt about it, I mumbled. Time passed and I was getting sleepy. I fell asleep. Oh, that's a bad thing. I don't remember what I was dreaming about, if I was dreaming at all, but I woke up when someone shook my shoulder. Stood next to me. Did you come to swim too? I still half asleep.
No. It's almost time for lunch, and we still can't find Shurik,
the leader said, standing before me in a wet swimsuit. And?
I want you to look for him.
Seems like I'm the only pioneer in this entire camp. I was sincerely outraged. Every time it was getting clearer that Olga considered me her errand boy
to be used like a slave, or vice versa.
If I came to you, then I want you to help me.
Why exactly me? However, after giving it some thought, I decided to agree. After all, my shoulders and back got sunburned while I was sleeping and searching for Shurik. Let me get acquainted with the unexplored locations of the camp. Okay. It was not exactly right to wander around wearing only swimming trunks, so I should get changed first. 10 minutes later, I stood outside Olga's cabin deciding where to go. Okay, so let's see. We're looking for him. I don't think we can pick anywhere else, right? Oh wait, we can. We'll probably save this area for last. What we'll do is first we'll go to the boathouse. Maybe Shurik decided to pick some stones near the water. In the worst case, I'll find his corpse. But I'm sure that it won't end up that way. I was crossing the square when somebody called out to me.
Wait!
Elisa came up and smiled. I immediately sensed a trap.
Where are you going?
I'm searching for Shurik. Olga asked me to.
And how is it? Exciting?
She looked intently into my eyes and I turned away awkwardly. Not really. You know, a pioneer is missing.
Surely you're not freaking out over such a minor thing.
What do you mean?
Only a few hours have passed. Maybe he just lost track of time while having a walk.
Certainly I'd had the same idea, but I wasn't telling her that. Yeah, that's true. But who knows what could have happened.
Let me help you with it.
With what? I got suspicious.
We're looking for Shurik.
Oh, but I can do that.
Oh, come on.
She smiled at me, but there was something malevolent in that smile. Naturally, her smile was cute enough, but it really seemed to me like there was something behind it. Well, if you insist. Since I could not understand what's on her mind, I had no real reason to refuse.
But before we go, I have to get one thing from home.
Okay, I'll wait for you.
You're actually serious about just standing there. Let's go.
Okay. Whoa. Nice. We approach Elisa's cabin.
It would be just like all other cabins if not for the Jolly Roger on the door.
Yeah, no, it's freaking cool, man.
By the way, Juliana is my roommate.
Okay. Cool. I'm guessing the right side of the room over here is Juliana's. We enter the cabin. Complete chaos inside really reminded me of my old flat. Though, well, I thought of it as old. In general, I would imagine a girl's room completely different. Snow white sheets, walls, floor, and ceiling shining, spotless. But when when you consider that the two most exemplary pioneers are living here, we just stood silently for some time. And what did you need to get? Huh? Seems like I interrupted Elisa's thinking.
Yeah. It's not here, actually. Wait here. I'll be back in a minute.
She smiled and ran out. Seems really flaky today. I began to examine the room. I wouldn't say that there had been an explosion. It's just a decent mess. Well, at least by looking at all the mess she created in one pioneer session, I can surely say that I am not the messiest person in the world. The decoration of my apartment took years to be completed. I wasn't thinking about anything in particular, I was just looking around the room. Posters of Soviet artists, some books on the shelves, various household items. Then I realized that everything is wrong. Something will happen soon. Something bad. Why did Elisa leave me here all alone? There's something I had to discover. My gut told me that it's dangerous to stay here. I went to the door and tried to open it. Locked. What a surprise. How did she manage to quietly lock me in? I don't know what's on her mind, but I need to get out of here. I went to the window, opened it, and climbed out. Now I can go take care of business, or chose the second option and waited. That was the reason she had me locked up. I wanted to know what was happening, plus I really wanted to see Elisa's face when she finds her room empty. I hid in the bushes next to the house and waited. After some time, I heard footsteps. Elisa and Olga came to the house.
You'll see everything for yourself.
She opened the door and went in. A few seconds later, she ran back out.
You know,
Elisa's face looked as if she had just won the mouse catching competition. But at the last moment, found out that's not the real Olympic sport.
So, he just disappeared?
Olga asked skeptically. I did the right thing by closing the window after myself.
Oh no. You know, I understand everything. You and your roommate every time the same thing. Haven't you had enough yet? But it's true. Really, one story after another. Simeon in your cabin, Simeon harassing you. Why do you keep lying? That's horrible.
Elisa seemed really upset and, to my surprise, was not trying to argue. On the one hand, it was funny to look at it. But, on the other hand, I felt a bit sorry. She deserves it, though. Alita finally finished scolding her and left. Elisa was mad. She clenched her fist and trembled. Her face was flushed. It seemed to me that she was going to explode. I sat in the bushes and laughed quietly. However, I was wondering what was on her mind, and I came out of my hiding place, not afraid to be beaten. So, what exactly did you want to show the leader? Me? Elisa turned and looked at me in disbelief. After a moment, surprise turned to anger.
You!
What about me? She calmed down a bit.
Because you're a loser.
And why is that?
Because you're afraid to compete with me.
When?
When we played cards.
What a serious reason. Yeah, maybe I should apologize to you, I asked sarcastically.
Screw you.
She went into the house, slamming the door. I wasn't angry at Elisa. In the end, I'd expected her to do something like this. Anyway, I got through without consequences. I was very lucky. Her confusion and embarrassment just made my day. Chuckling, I left Elisa's cabin, which was about to become my death trap. That's the best. Alright, the bus stop seemed to be a fine choice. Strange thought came across me. Perhaps Shurik is in the same situation as me, so he decided to run away from this camp. Maybe by the 410 bus. It could really turn out to be true if he came here by accident too, although the chances of that are quite slim. But you never know. What if the bus would really come? However, I could hardly believe in that. Indeed, I spent a couple of minutes waiting at the bus stop, made sure that there were no signs of Shurik or anyone else here, and headed back to the camp. Somebody rushed out from behind the gates and bumped into me. The impact wasn't strong, so I just staggered. Miku stood in front of me and rubbed her bruised forehead.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, shit, that was me. Oh, sorry.
It's alright. It's my fault. I was going to the music club, but got lost and thought about a new song, you know, thinking up the lyrics and music. I hadn't realized how I got here. So you don't have to apologize.
Well, words per minute rate obviously exceeded the recognition limits of my brain. I made an attempt to retreat promptly. Sure, gotta go, you know.
Oh, wait.
I wanted to leave as usual without having to listen to her, but Miku grabbed my hand. Her grasp gave me the creeps, as he got a clear vision of an agonizing execution by another rap session.
Can you help me a little, please? Just a teensy-weensy bit.
That definitely wasn't on my to-do list today. Well, I'd be glad to, but it's...
Pretty please?
Miku looked at me with such puppy dog eyes that my heart started to melt. She totally wasn't going to let go of my hand. And what help exactly do you need?
You'll accompany me. I can't manage to compose on my own. I can sing or play. I can't do both at the same time.
Even our virtuoso has her weaknesses. Well, you know, I can't really play an instrument.
Never mind that. I'll show you everything. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, sure, why not? On the other hand, I'm not losing anything. However, she dragged me along with her. Probably nothing good will come of this, but the only way to get her off me is to wrestle my hand out of hers. That wouldn't be very nice. Nothing bad will happen after all. Probably. Within a minute, we were already standing in the music club. Miku took a guitar.
Here, have a look.
She sat down and started playing. I tried to follow her hands. The tune seemed quite simple. It seemed quite easy to repeat it.
Got it? Kind of. Let's try. I took the guitar and started playing. That didn't really work out. Let me show you one more time. She played much better than me. Looking at Miku, I wondered. Of course, she was a chatterbox. She was naive and clumsy. However, she was extremely talented in music. Try again. I managed much better the second time. Wow, that's much better, she smiled. It wasn't hard, in fact. Just repeat the same notes over and over. Just don't lose track. Start on my command. Okay. Ready? Go! It was a song in Japanese. Frankly speaking, I didn't understand a single word, but Miku's singing was quite good. In fact, it was outstanding. Sounds like a freaking chipmunk. Like how Alvin and Chipmunks or something. She put her heart in every note, every word. Yeah, music probably is the very thing for her to dedicate her life to. Seemed like it wasn't her to choose the music, who chose the music, but the music that has chosen her. The last half of... Let me... The last half an hour presented Miku in a completely different light. Oh, thank you. Did you like it? I finally managed it with you. On my own, it's not so good. I either messed up with the words or missed the strings, and it's just perfect with you. Thank you so much. You really have a talent, you know? Just to play that without any preparation. No, it seems I changed my opinion about her too hastily. Thanks for the song. Gotta go. See ya. Thanks for... The rest of her words were left behind the door. Why is my guy such a dick to her, man? I leaned on the wall of the club cabin inside. Miku's song was still playing in my mind. I went for lunch with mixed feelings, with a sense of accomplishment, and with a realization of time wasted. The canteen was crowded. I couldn't stay unannounced. Olga called me. Unnoticed, sorry. Simeon, come with us. The camp leader, Slavian and Letronk were sitting at the 4-seated table. I nodded and went to get my food. This time, I had spent several minutes in the queue. Today's menu didn't really differ from the other day's menus. The dishes looked the same at least. When I sat at the table and wished bon appetit to everyone, Olga said, So, what are you thinking? About what? We searched for Shurik all around. It's noon and he's nowhere to be found. I took a note of the rhyme, but didn't want to point it out. I was wondering if I was the only one that noticed that. We looked all over the camp. I went all around the neighboring forest. Olga looked at me. And I helped too. We must call the police. Maybe we should wait until the evening, I asked lazily. Maybe he went home. That can't be. Shurik lives thousands of miles away. By train? The nearest station, she paused, is far off. Now it was getting interesting. Ooh, she almost slipped up. Every time the conversation reached the point concerning ways I could leave, all the camp inhabitants started changing the subject. How far is far? Really far. Camp leader looked at me, indicating with her expression that answering more questions was not advised. So, we should go deeper into the forest. Maybe he got lost. Shurik always takes a compass, chimed in Electronic. I wondered what else could be found in his magic vest, assuming he has one. If I were to get lost in the forest, a compass would be of no real use. Police! We should call the police in the evening. Not right now, at least. Okay, so you'll do it later. Then we're all silent. We should be able to find him before evening. We still have time. If he actually got lost, we have no time to lose. We cannot be sure. Then where is he? Where? There was some truth in the camp leader's words. Hiding the whole day just like that is suspicious. Why would he do that? Shurik seemed to be quite a serious pioneer. Yuliana would have been a better fit for his behavior. This behavior. So there's a good reason to believe that he was gone.
All that can be done has already been done. I just have to wait. Slavia, Electronic, and Olga looked at me sorrowfully, but didn't say a word. I finished my lunch, took the tray back, and left the canteen. Still the first half of the day. What now? Camp was drifting off for an afternoon nap. Only Ginda stared at me through his glasses. Of course, he was staring somewhere else. I had a feeling that he was constantly watching me. I bet he knows where Shurik is hiding. He just can't say anything. The disappearance of the Cybernetics Club's leaders made me think. Maybe it's got something to do with my case.
Oh, Pioneer.
The nurse stood in front of me. I looked at her curiously.
Go and take my place in the infirmary. I have an urgent call. Somebody is injured.
Me?
Yes, you. Take the keys.
The nurse threw me the keys and ran away. Why me? Isn't there anyone else in this camp? What exactly should I be doing? What if something happens? Oh, what do I do now? I missed my chance to refuse. I stood in front of the door uncertainly. On one hand, there is nothing to worry about. I'll spend half an hour or so here and she'll be back. What if someone comes for actual help, with a broken leg or a head injury? I'm going to worry too much. I hope that there are no injuries more serious than bruises and scratches in this camp. But at this same time, I cannot shake the idea that in a serious situation, I will be absolutely useless. I don't even know how to perform CPR. A magazine on a nurse's table caught my attention. Good way to relax, I guess. It was labeled Soviet fashion. The publication date or month were absent. However, this was not a surprise. There were much stranger things happening here. I didn't know much about Soviet magazines. Maybe they actually didn't have publication dates on them. Models dressed in old-fashioned clothes stared at me from the glossy pages. Nowadays, nobody would wear such clothes. I smirked. I wonder if Slavia, for example, considered this fashionable. I can only imagine what would happen if she appeared in my time wearing something like this. Imagine we are walking in hand. I'm wearing my coat with the hood, and she is dressed in lavish dress covered in lace and things. Sometimes I'm already imagining Slavia in my world, with me. And not only Slavia. The dress better suits Juliana. This cute Seraphin would look good on Elisa. This skirt and cardigan would look nice on Lena. If only they could be real. No, I saw them, heard them, could even touch them. But still, they are here, and I simply don't belong in this place. It's alien to me. I'm just waiting for the chance to get out of here. Waiting because nothing is up to me anymore. I sighed, put my head on the table, and fell asleep. I was woken by the noise of the door opening. Lena stood at the door. Yesterday I promised to help her in the infirmary. My cheeks became scarlet shortly, and I turned away pretending I'm busy.
The nurse isn't here? Then I'll come back later.
I'm substituting for her. So I am responsible for pioneers' lives. I should do it with full responsibility. Though in fact, I'm just afraid of something bad happening because of me. Any health complaints? I tried to give Lena the most professional smile I could in order to not confuse her.
Nothing special. Just a little headache.
Let's do this. Some painkillers, maybe. Of course, I wasn't aware where to find required medicines, so it took me a while to find them. Finally, I handed a metamizole tablet to Lena.
Thanks.
She smiled. That was completely unexpected, and I lost touch with reality staring at her.
What?
Lena turned awkward in an instant. Listen, I've been wondering, do you like this? I don't know what got into me, but I grabbed that magazine from the table and showed her that picture of a skirt and a cardigan, which would really suit Lena in my opinion. Maybe I went completely nuts thinking about all the girls being in my world. Or maybe I wanted to distract myself instead of just waiting for the nurse to come back. Then I looked at the picture.
Yes, I guess.
Stuff like this in fashion?
I guess.
She got confused and started blushing. Why do you ask? Really, why? Man, while we're here, why the hell not?
Thank you.
That's alright, I'm just being completely honest. We were quiet for some time. How was your headache?
Much better, thank you.
She smiled.
I'll be off.
Good luck. Leah went out, and I continued to look through the magazine. After a while, somebody knocked at the door again. Seems that the infirmary is the most popular place to go. Suddenly I decided to roleplay a nurse. Just a male version. And said, "Come in." The door opened and Juliana entered the room. "Wow, did I miss the moment when you decided to start knocking?"
Anything wrong with me knocking?
She frowned. "Where does it hurt?"
Why on earth would I tell you? Where's the nurse?
Right in front of you. I imposingly crossed my legs and looked questioningly at her.
I'd better go. It'd be better to die than be treated by you.
She smiled mischievously. "You didn't even let me try." Juliana thought for a moment.
Though you could give me some pills.
"What's bothering you?" Took her some time to reply.
A heavy stomach.
"Sure is not an empty head," I muttered under my breath.
What did you say?
"Nothing. Give me a second." I found the pills in the first drawer I opened.
Thank you, doctor.
She smiled cheerfully. Watching Juliana, I could not imagine how such an optimistic and active child would have any health problems. She gave me a baleful look.
No, I left everything for you.
Ooh. I slammed the door. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Again, I went back to studying Soviet fashion trends. Time passed, but the nurse was still absent. I wasn't searching for Shurik. I wasn't looking for any clues concerning my situation. I was just sitting and flipping through a magazine. Just for a moment, I felt quite satisfied with this situation. So far, everything that has happened here could be seen as just a trip to a summer camp, and if nothing changes anytime soon, then I can start worrying. Again, somebody knocked on the door. I missed the outbreak of an epidemic. Slavia was standing at the doorway.
Oh, hi. Isn't the nurse here?
Hi. No, she's not here. I'm taking it over for her today.
Great. I'd like...
She hesitated. What?
By the way, Simeon.
Slavia said and looked intently at me. What?
Seems like I lost my keys. Have you seen them anywhere?
Sure I have. Yes, here, I found them near the canteen yesterday. I wanted to return them to you, but I forgot about it. I was really bad lying. My cheeks were red, my eyes were wandering around, and hands were constantly shaking. Here. I was already preparing myself for an appropriate scolding, but Slavia only took the keys and said, "Thanks." So, what have you come for?
I really need to change the subject.
Does anything hurt?
No, it's nothing.
Strange. I wouldn't even think that such an open person as Slavia would be keep something quiet. Ooh, I think I know what it is. Don't push it, bro. If there's something bothering you, tell me. That's why I'm here, to treat people. I smiled widely.
No. I mean, yes, but no.
Hearing that made anything possible, even division by 0. So, how can I help you?
You? I guess you can't.
She smiled and was going to leave, but suddenly stopped.
However, could you step out for a minute?
Why not? Okay. And leaning against the wall. I wonder what she might be doing. Something I can't even see. Don't... Okay, yeah, I was about to say. Slavia came out. She was carrying a small bundle. Don't ask. Good luck. I shouted after her.
Thank you.
She gave me one of her sweet smiles before leaving. Yeah, no, bro, don't. No. I know what that was. I know what she was doing. Don't ask. Okay? It's important not to get involved in that sort of thing with a woman. Just saying. I looked at the time. It was getting late. I'd read the magazine backwards and forwards, but the nurse still wasn't here. Suddenly the door... Oh no. Rushed inside. She looked at me piercingly.
What are you doing here?
Sitting. I admitted honestly.
Okay then. It's even better without the nurse.
She murmured. Are you sick? I asked acidly. Elisa didn't answer and came closer to me.
Move over.
Why?
So I can open the drawer. Isn't it obvious?
What for? She got angry.
None of your business.
Well, I'm kinda in charge here. She gave it a moment's thought. Then give me some activated carbon. Stomachache? Yeah. She grinned sharply. I got the feeling there was something wrong here. This seems like a bad idea. But if I deny it, she's probably going to try to force her way to grab it. So it'd probably be best just to give it to her anyway. So I guess just give it to her. But you never know. Well, she really has an ache. Okay. Drawer and got out a packet of activated carbon. Thanks. She wrested it from my hand and ran away. Yeah, it's a bad idea. Bad idea. It's 15 minutes till dinner, and the nurse still wasn't back. Guess just leaving this place like this won't do. She asked me to look after it after all. And who knows what might have happened if I leave. Though, who would want to steal anything from here? Except for Elisa stealing activated carbon. Opened the magazine again and began flipping through it for the 9th time. The fashions of the 80s weren't that fun anymore. Yawning got me several times. It was already 6 o'clock, so dinner had already started. Of course, I had to be on the watch till the end, but my stomach seemed to have its own opinion on the matter. I stood up and steadily headed for the exit. A rustling sound came from behind the door. Maybe someone else who got poisoned, broke their arm, or something even worse. I pulled on the doorknob. However, there was no one out there. Seems it was just my imagination. I returned inside and instantly noticed that something had changed in the infirmary. To be precise, an apple had appeared on the table. But where from? Fruits can't just materialize from thin air by themselves, can they? Though in this camp anything is possible. Chances are someone just brought it in here. Maybe Lena wanted to thank me. Give that she's all shy and... But wait! How could she just slip past me like that? Lena couldn't climb through the window after all. So there must be something else. I was suddenly overwhelmed by fear. What if the apple is poisoned? Oh, why would someone complicate things when I'm here totally helpless? Could be killed way more. It was Alice. Elise, Alice, however the hell you want to call it. Guarantee you. That's the way she's going to get it back. Or, it might be the apple which Eve tasted in the Garden of Eden. In that case, I certainly shouldn't eat it. Same second my stomach reminded me it was there by rumbling traitorously. However, it would take time to close the infirmary to reach the canteen to get food. The stomach is about to eat itself. Nothing wrong, I guess. Once again, I tried to remember if this apple was here before. In the end, it must have appeared from somewhere. Maybe it got here through the window. The shutter was slightly open, so maybe somebody had reached in and put it there. Nothing serious, however. I got a bad feeling about it. What does that carbon do? I mean, I know it tones down the acid in your stomach, but I don't think it has any other negative effects, right? I feel like it's a trap. But maybe that's just me being paranoid. But then again, everything else I've assumed has been right. So... No. No, 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 no. Even assuming that this is a normal apple in any case, shouldn't eat unwashed fruits. Just like that. Found a reason for my fear and put the apple away. There you go. See? Just... it's unwashed. There you go. Time for dinner. Along the way, I ran into the electronic. How's it going? Did you find Shurik? No, still no sign of him. Don't worry. We'll find him. I tried to cheer him up. Too much time has passed. I'll just keep on searching. What about dinner? No, finding Shurik is more important, he muttered thoughtfully. I left him at the crossroads and wished him good luck. Pioneers crowded in the doorway. I quickened my pace, trying not to be the last one in line, at least for today. And I was lucky. In the far corner was an absolutely empty table. I took my dinner quickly and sat at the table. Tonight's dinner consisted of fruit, soup, and a pair of buns. This set surprised me at first, but the taste was actually nice. I concentrated on eating. Lena, let's go here. Look, 3 free chairs. Lena and Miku stood in front of me. Are these taken? Wondered Lena. No, take a seat. Of course, I wish you were alone. Thank you. As soon as Lena said that, Zinnia jumped out from behind her back. I'll sit here. There are no places left, she said, putting her tray on the table and sitting down, not even waiting for my answer. Sure, make yourself at home, I muttered sorrowfully. What? Nothing. To tell the truth, I want to reduce the whole company to just Lena, though neither Miku nor Zinnia were causing much trouble. So one was way too talkative, and the other was too arrogant. But nevertheless, they were absolutely harmless, especially comparing to some others I could name. Oh, seems like I forgot my key. Don't worry, take mine. I was surprised by Miku's short reply. Do you live together? Of course. Didn't you know? Together? Our cabin is in the rearmost. I mean, the farthest from here. I mean, the last one. I wouldn't have been surprised if somebody told me that Lena lived with Slavia. Or was Zinnia at worst. Even electronic. But silent and shy Lena and excessively talkative Miku as a pair? That's really a surprise. Did you find Shurik? It's strange that Zinnia is disturbed by someone's problems. No. Surely he is at the village buying cigarettes. Or vodka. She snorted. Village? At that moment, the conversation got much more interesting. Got a problem with villages? Zinnia looked amazed. You mean there's a village nearby? I think so, she said uncertainly. I looked at Lena and Miku, but they were busy with their meals, did not pay attention to our conversation. You mean you don't know exactly? Why should I care? Zinnia stared at her dish. There must be something nearby. Listen. Listening. I don't know. Will you eat? Let me eat. Seems like I won't get anything from her. Now, there is a chance that she really doesn't know. The remaining time was spent listening to Miku talking about some nonsense. I was just going slowly mad in silence. Obviously, the first thing I did after getting out was inhale a great breath of fresh air. The sun was setting. I decided to take a walk. It's highly unlikely that I will find anything more exciting to do for the rest of the evening. That way something interesting could arise quite unexpectedly. Heard a loud bang. Seemed like something had exploded. I was paralyzed. I'm in a hostile environment, not knowing the rules and laws of this place. It would be better for me to run, but at the same time I was curious. Probably I would have just kept standing there if somebody grabbed my hand. It was Olga. Why are you standing here? Let's go and see what happened. Can't you ever manage without me? I begged her pitifully. It shouldn't be anything serious, I hope. Oh God, please tell me it was not Elise. Or Alice, whatever. 'Cause that means she blames me. When we came to the square, there was already a crowd of pioneers. Olga vigorously pushed through the crowd and approached the crime scene. Obviously, someone tried to blow up Genda. But the attackers failed. The monument was still standing upright. There were only dim ash traces on the pedestal.
Well, who did this?
She looked over the crowd of pioneers. Surely it wasn't done by an organized terrorist organization. These guys all came here just to look at what happened. I noticed Juliana and Lisa in the crowd. And it looks like our camp leader noticed them too.
You two, come here.
They approached reluctantly.
Why always me? If you think so. Show me your hands. What's wrong with them?
I looked closer and saw that they were smeared with black.
Now it's clear. What did you make a bomb with?
The junior terrorist seemed to hesitate over whether or not to confess, then blurted out proudly.
Activated carbon, saltpeter, and sulfur.
Shit.
Why exactly the monument? What did this honored man ever do to you, the fighter for the rights of... Besides, he gave me the activated carbon.
She pointed at me with her finger, while Square stared at me. I was about the pointless of this act due to the small bomb size left me at that very moment.
She stole it.
I did nothing.
Even if he gave it to you, I'm sure Simeon would never take part of such a disgusting antisocial act.
Yes, exactly. I agreed. I could hardly imagine how long she would have kept on scolding Elisa and Electronic hadn't popped out at that very moment shouting,
I found it! I found it!
Everyone turned towards him. He held a boot in his hand.
Here!
Electronic boastfully shook it over his head.
It's Shurik's boot! Okay, calm down. Tell us in detail where you found it. In the forest.
On the way to the old camp. Whispers ran among the pioneers.
Old camp, the old camp. Are you sure?
Absolutely. What's so special about this old camp? I joined in on the conversation.
It's nothing special, really.
She stammered.
One of the Sovionics legends tells the story
of a young camp leader's ghost living there. She fell in love with a pioneer, but he rejected her, and so she killed herself.
She committed harakiri with a kitchen knife. Next day, the boy was hit by a bus.
Juliana ran out of the crowd. Bus. I refrained from asking about the route number. No.
The science doesn't acknowledge the existence of ghosts, so we have nothing to be afraid of. Anyway, somebody should go there.
Suddenly the crowd started to thin out. Olga,
it's almost night. Maybe tomorrow.
I turned around and saw Slavia and Lena.
What if at night something happens to him? No, today, right now.
By the way, where is this place? Patron roughly described to me the location, the directions, and told me the story of the old camp. The camp leader looked at me attentively. If you think that
You're the only man here.
I looked around the area. Of course. Patron was quick to flee. Still didn't want to walk in the woods alone. If he asked me, I would. Going alone, I feel like would be a bad idea. But I also feel like it would be a bad idea to go with any of these. Elisa, because she's not exactly happy with me. Juliana, because she doesn't like me, and she likes to play too much. Lena, because she's too quiet. And my character seems too invested in her. And Slavia also, she seems too nice. So I'm going to go alone. Am I going there alone? Olga looked thoughtfully.
Perhaps you're right. We'll go together tomorrow morning.
We stood in silence for some time, then dispersed around the camp. Everybody seemingly forgot about Elisa and her terrorist act, maybe due to the minor damage it caused. Together with the camp leader, I went towards our cabin. I tried to think of why Shurik would go to the old camp. He is interested in robots and cybernetics, not scary stories and ghosts. What does that boot have to do with that? I remember how I decided to wait until something extraordinary would happen. Then I realized this is it. Olga, I think I'll take a walk before bed.
Just not a long one.
Okay. When I reached the square, I understood that hanging around the forest or some other strange place may not be that scary, but doing so in the dark. I didn't want to return to Olga's cabin, but I had to find a flashlight. For instance, there was one in the infirmary. I was glad I didn't spend my whole time there reading the fashion magazine. The flashlight was found quickly, and in a few minutes I was again standing in the square pulling myself together. I just had to make the final decision before I entered the forest, moving past the pioneers' cabins down the forest path towards the abandoned camp. I set forth. Latron told me that the old building was built immediately after the war. It looked like a kindergarten, or like a barracks, I expected. It definitely could hold fewer pioneers than today's camp. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. It was now totally dark. The forest looked totally different at night. Mysterious shadows were hiding behind trees, strange rustlings, and the cries of night birds coming from everywhere, branches treacherously snapping under my feet. The full moon was shining, so I decided to save the battery in the flashlight. I'm sure I will need it sometime soon. The further I moved, the more unpleasant thoughts came into my head. I wasn't afraid of the dark at all. I didn't believe in ghosts and other mystical crap, but at the same time, during the last few days, I'd encountered so many incomprehensible phenomena that against my own will, I started to read between the lines of the simplest things. Obviously, I felt exceptionally uneasy in the forest that night. Everywhere I looked, every shadow, every tree or bush looked like weird creatures, escaping straight from horror movies or from Stephen King novels. A branch seemed to be someone's hand, eager to grab your shoulder. A fallen log, someone's dead body, someone who fell to get out of the forest. In every gully I saw a bottomless abyss. If I had found myself in this forest under any other circumstances, without all these buses and pioneer camps, of course I would still feel uncomfortable. But then I would be able to explain everything with logic and be afraid of nothing, except for owls and mice, of course. But at the moment, there were more than enough reasons to fear. Despite all this, I reached the camp without any adventures. Whoa. In a little glade surrounded by trees stood a house resembling a kindergarten. That's a fucking kindergarten? That looks like a frickin' manor you'd find in Louisiana. Paint peeled off the walls. Almost all the windows were broken. Broken masonry here and there, holes in the roof, and it looked like those made by bombing. In front of the building was a little garden surrounded by a rusty fence. Apparently, once it was a playground with a merry-go-round, swing, slides, and other Soviet attractions. But time is cruel. All of them were broken and mutilated by corrosion. Grass was so tall that it almost came up to my waist. The moon looked out from behind the clouds and illuminated the old camp. It seemed like everything came back to life. Windows shone with new glass, and walls looked like they'd been painted with fresh paint. I heard playful laughter, saw a translucent Don't do that. Running and frolicking in the yard, a strict camp leader on the threshold, holding a basket with ripe apples in her hands. The old cleaning lady taking a nap in the shade sent chills down my spine. Of course, my imagination was playing tricks on me, but the camp itself was so similar to all the post-apocalyptic pictures I had seen that these visions were no surprise. I stood undecided for a long time before I dared to go further. After all, I'm here to find Shurik. Though I still don't get what he might be doing here. If he even is here. A boot somewhere nearby doesn't mean anything. However, if he was not eaten by wolves, for some reason it seemed like there were no wolves in this forest, this must be the only place where he might be hiding. I carefully crossed the yard, pushing the tall grass apart and trying not to bump into a jagged piece of metal, but I stopped in a doorway, hesitating. An impenetrable, heavy darkness stared back at me from inside. Even the bright moonlight could not illuminate any object, or even highlight a silhouette. My head was filled up with different thoughts, and always said that it was better for me to not go any further and run away quickly. But I pulled myself together, turned on the flashlight and stepped over to the threshold. Oh, hell no. Inside the building looked like a typical kindergarten. Again, this does not look like a kindergarten that I ever went to. I still remember my childhood days, and so everything here looked very familiar. Sleeping room with lines of beds standing close to each other, a large playroom, toilets, a dining room, and utility rooms. Signs of past children's joy were seen everywhere. From time to time, the flashlight drew my attention to a decaying doll, or a plastic toy car, or a punctured rubber ball, or a broken rank of tin soldiers. There was a book on a table faded with age. I flipped through a few pages. It was a story I had read a long time ago, back in my childhood, something about the war. Enemies destroyed the kindergarten and all of its kids hid in the little basement together with a bunch of adults, while bombs were exploding up on the surface. I don't remember the end of the story. As far as I remember, nobody died. Looking at the illustrations, all the emotions, fear, sadness, sympathy for the poor children, and the sense of hopelessness which I had experienced while reading this book came over me. It's strange that under exactly these conditions, right here and now, I found this book. Probably there is somebody who manages this ongoing story, who runs the scenario for this absurd play, who sews costumes for the local pioneers, and creates sets like this abandoned camp. To tell the truth, he is very talented. Attention is paid to even the most minor of details. Although this place was abandoned long time ago, everything here seemed to be untouched. Of course, time didn't spare this camp. In so many years, it had often been visited by the locals. A perfect place for young people just hitting puberty and drink alcohol, indulge in amorous pleasures, or simply burn everything down just for fun. Latron mentioned this place is full of legends of ghosts and devils living here. Take for example the story about the camp leader who committed suicide. In my world, nobody would believe that this could stop somebody, but in this reality, anything is possible. Certainly the fear didn't disappear, but I decided that since I had come here, I was going to carry on to the end. The building was small, so it wasn't difficult to search it completely, but I didn't find any sign of Shirik. Maybe I should just call out to him. On the other hand, that's not such a good idea. Frustrated, I sat on the bench in the lobby inside. Ghosts, where are you? I asked the camp. All of a sudden, I noticed a strange depression in the corner. A small trap door. An adult would barely be able to squeeze through it. It seemed to me it had been recently opened, as the dust was cleared around it. And so here's the part where I needed to be scared. So Shirik went somewhere. What might be lurking beneath the trapdoor? A basement? What would he be doing there? Jesus, that scared me. I pulled open the hatch and pointed the flashlight into the darkness. There was a ladder going down a couple of meters, ending on the concrete floor. There was a low, narrow corridor disappearing in the darkness. I hesitated for a long time. On one hand, I had absolutely no desire to go down there. On the other hand, if Shirik was really there, I swore loudly and began to descend. Fuck that shit. There is no way I would ever do that in my entire life. No matter, I would deal with the strangely nice camp people that go down that tunnel to even come into this place. My survival skills are way better than this guy's. Okay, downstairs it was so dark that even the flashlight didn't help much. A low ceiling, wires extending along the walls, broken lamps clad with iron bars. I've seen it all somewhere. Slowly started to move deeper into the dungeon. The path went down, and after a few dozen meters, ended at a stairway with high steps. Soon I found myself in front of a massive metal door. There was a sign painted on it. I looked closely and realized it was a biohazard sign. No wonder. If the old camp was built after the war, and it lasted until the 70s, so it's an ordinary bomb shelter, and there is nothing to be afraid of. However, those thoughts made me even more scared. I made a decision and opened the door, which immediately shut with a sharp sound as soon as I stepped through the doorway. I shuddered strongly. My hands began to tremble and my vision dimmed. I regained consciousness after a few seconds, and only then did I realize that apparently a strong spring was attached to the door. I found myself in a quite spacious room. In the beam of the flashlight, I could see a bunk bed, some cabinets along the walls, and several devices of unknown purposes located in the far corner. It seems this was a bomb shelter that has never been used. Nobody ever came here. The beds were made, which is strange in itself. I carefully looked around the room several times. Cabinets were filled with gas masks, chemical protective suits, dry rations, various domestic odds and ends. The devices which I had at first could determine the purpose of were gauges of radiation, air pressure, and temperature. In short, it was a typical bomb shelter. I'd never been in such a place before. It was how I imagined it. What the hell? That's weird. The only thing that remained unexplored was the door at the other end of the room. I pulled the handle, but the door remained closed. Someone recently came down here, and it wasn't found in this room. It would be logical to assume that he is behind this door. I called out in a whisper, "Shurik?" No reply. Maybe he locked himself out. But why? It was unclear what I should do next. Perhaps it would be smarter to come back tomorrow with help, but for some reason I had a feeling that behind this door I would find answers that can't wait to be found. I walked across the room and took a crowbar from the corner. I wedged it under the bottom of the door and tried to rip it from the hinges. Oddly enough, after a while, I did just that. Fortunately, it wasn't as massive as the previous door. The door gave out and slammed on the floor. I took a deep breath and pointed the flashlight down the passage. A corridor vanished into the darkness, same as the one on which brought me here. The walls were closing in. I had almost touched the ceiling, but I could not make out the end of the corridor. I walked carefully through the ground, looking at the ground. This was the reason that I did not fall into the pit. The hole was about 1.5 meters in diameter, and there was earth at the bottom of it instead of concrete. It seemed that the hole was caused by an explosion. It wasn't too deep. I could easily climb out later. After I jumped in the hole, I found myself in something that resembled an old mine. The walls and the ceiling were reinforced with wooden beams. The tunnel was so long that my flashlight was insufficient. A few minutes later, I found myself at a crossroads. It's too dangerous to go any further. I could get lost. I decided that would be a good idea to somehow mark the place from which I would begin my journey into the labyrinth. So I picked up a stone and made quite a big notch on the wall. So, well, there's already an arrow pointing to the left. And most people would normally pick right. So I think I'm going to go left. It seems that there is another fork in the road. Ugh. We'll go left. That way we can easily remember. Some kind of miner's camp. Picks and helmets everywhere. A rusty wagon stood in the corner. All the items were so old they dated from the beginning of the 20th century rather than the middle. So this really is a mine, which means I could wander around for ages without finding a way out. But I sensed the exit was somewhere nearby and went further. Another fork in the road. I guess go left again. You're joking. Okay, let's try going left again. Okay, so let's remember here. We've went left except for that one. So it would be a left and then all rights. So right. Alright, that's 4 rights. 5. 6. 7. You're joking. 8. 9. 10. Okay. Oh. Around one last turn, a door appeared from the darkness. I opened it, and inside a small room. Nobody was here except Shurik, who sat in the corner. Shurik! He stared at me, his eyes full of terror. Ah! Don't come near me! Shurik, it's me, Simeon! I won't give up so easily. He grabbed a piece of reinforced bar from behind his back and started waving it around. Shurik, what's wrong with you? Calm down. First you bring me here, then you take me through this mine, and now you're pretending to be Simeon? You must have gone completely nuts. Shurik, calm down. Nobody's pretending to be me. I'm really me. I tried to talk as calmly as I could, but I was almost feeling more nervous than him. Simeon? He squinted. Is that really you? Yes. Now tell me what happened. How did you get here? Shurik recovered his breath and started to talk. I needed parts for the robot, and I heard that there was a bomb shelter in this old camp, and there could be some instruments. So I got up in the morning and went. He stopped for a minute, trying to deal with the trembling of his hands. I found suitable parts, but then I read primal fear in his eyes. The voices. They told me to go here. I went down the mine. They were telling me to go to the right, then left, then right, then left, then right, then left. He started to laugh hysterically. But now, they won't get me. I'll stay sitting here. They won't find me here. He once again started to wave his pipe in the air. Shurik, there's no one there. I wasted quite a lot of time walking in the mine like you, but didn't hear any voices. He fixed his eyes on me. Then you're with them. What? Shurik rushes towards me. I was just barely able to dodge him. But the flashlight wasn't as lucky, and took the full force of Shurik's blow. We found ourselves in complete darkness. Now it was my turn to lose my mind. What have you done, you idiot? I lashed out with my hand in the direction where I expected Shurik to be, but to no avail. Now we will both die here. I got nothing but silence in return, and then a quiet, hysterical laugh. It's alright. That's fine. I know where the exit is. Follow me. Follow you where? I can't see a damn thing. Follow my voice. I had no other choice. Here. Shurik's voice was heard from somewhere further on. How do you know where to go? I walked all over here. Then why didn't you leave? The voices. Quiet. They can hear us. In theory, I could believe there are some supernatural forces here. In the Zorik camp, they'd just be a daily occurrence. But there was no reason to panic yet, though my hands were shaking non-stop. Here. I slowly followed his voice and eventually lost track of time. We could have been roaming around for a few minutes or a few hours. Finally, a dim light appeared in the distance. We're here. We reached the wall. The way towards freedom was blocked by a lattice in the ceiling. I pulled myself up and recognized the square from the bits of landscape I could see. Simeon, lift me up. Oh, lift me up. Shurik obediently followed my request. I started to hit the grating with my fists. A few strikes covered in blood. But in return, the grating gave way and pushed open. A minute later, we were out on the surface behind the monument of Genda. When I saw the grating before, I had no idea that there would be catacombs below it. They will come for you. I fell to the ground exhausted. Who? They will come, said Shurik again and ran away. I was so exhausted that I could not even be bothered thinking about some voices or recalling the Forsaken camp, the bomb shelter, or the mine. Almost unconscious, I reached the camp leader's cabin, but I couldn't go to the bed right away. Well, look who's here. Olga. I started tiredly attempting to cut the explanation to a minimum. You said you were going for a walk, but instead... And I was going to call the police, and... Olga. Wait until tomorrow. I'm really, really tired. Camp leader eyed me all over. Okay, fine. I was a bit surprised that she agreed so fast, but decided not to waste this opportunity and quickly turned the light off. I darted under the covers. Wow, okay, so we're saving here. This was a longer chapter, and wow, things are really starting to heat up, and I'm super into this. So I'm probably going to go ahead and start up the next video, and I will see all of you in the next one. See ya!